Hello, Oracles. Well, Tesla is pushing up to test all-time highs. Now, truth be told, I recorded this video on Sunday, so by the time you guys see this, maybe we did end up pushing up past that $414 level. But looking at the stock, how it's moving right now, looking how we could potentially move into the end of the year, because of the run that Tesla stock has been on, there's a lot of institutions who might not want to take profits at this time of year. So we might not see a lot of selling pressure coming into the stock going into the end of the year as well. We might see that selling pressure come in the first couple of weeks of January just because of the uncertainty that we might end up getting in 2025. So there could just be some institutions taking some profits, kind of squirreling that money away just in case we end up getting a recession or a downturn in 2025. But right now, from what we're looking at for the rest of the year, there's really no reason I can see that we would sell off. Now, if there's a massive market sell off and the stock pulls down, so be it, but it doesn't really seem like that's going to happen because if we're going to tax loss harvest, typically that comes from institutions and investors selling off losers that they have. So something that's already down would sell off even more. So it wouldn't make any sense for anybody to sell off the ones that have been winning significantly unless they already have massive tax loss harvesting that they took earlier in the year and they can afford to take some gains. But I don't really see a lot of that going on right now, so we'll have to pay attention to see how the rest of this year plays out. But again, the all-time high is $414. I really don't see anything that's going to stop us from pushing up. It's just a matter of can we actually get to that point before the sell-off happens. It is getting pretty frothy out there for Tesla. Again, PE ratio is over 100. The forecast is at 157. So just kind of looking at, yeah, it probably could sell off. And you guys, if you haven't seen it, check out my stock gap video when I went over Tesla and all the different gaps that we have that were created. Gaps fill 9 out of 10 times. And we saw gaps as far as 2 years old get filled back in 2022. So I always keep it on my radar as a possibility. But here we are as of Friday, closing at 389. Again, where we are going to be when you guys actually see this video, maybe we're over 400 because that's going to be the next test is 400. And then after that's going to be the 414 level for all-time highs. So again, RSI pushing up to that 73 level, that's pushing into that overbought range. So little signals telling me that it's going to be selling off soon. But again, why would anybody sell off to take any profits on this from an institutional level if they're trying to tax loss harvest? So you may see some individual retail investors taking some profits at these levels, but I don't know if we're going to see a lot of selling pressure coming in until the beginning of the year. And this year will give this a little more running room to push and get us to all-time highs. So really paying attention to this. It's going to be exciting times for anybody who's a Tesla investor. And again, I sold off everything that I wanted to sell off for Tesla quite a while ago, so I made some good profits on that. And right now, I'm just back at the point where I'm going to be adding back to the stock again after I've made the adjustments to my portfolio and going to be growing it from here. So I'm very happy with where I've set my portfolio up. I use those profits from Tesla to build my portfolio as it is and end up buying a house. So I've got a lot of cash flow coming in to be able to buy Tesla back as well. So I'm anticipating a pullback at some point. It's going to be natural and healthy for Tesla to go through this. Don't know where it's going to come down to, but I will be adding as we go forward, and I'll keep you guys posted on that as I do so. And now for me, the really big things to pay attention to are going to be this Model 3 hatchback version that we're going to be getting coming out in Q1 or Q2 of next year. That to me is what a lot of institutions are going to be paying attention to because FSD and robotaxi cybercabs, that's great, but if we're not even going to be having cybercabs on the road until 2027, even solving FSD before then really doesn't matter all that much. Maybe you have more people going out there to buy it. Maybe people want to use their vehicle as that, but then you've got to go through the regulations and actually make this all happen. So there's going to be a significant chunk of time between the time that Tesla actually solves it and the time we actually get cybercabs on the road. So as of right now, that's looking like about 2 years. Institutions are only going to be looking out 12 months. So that's why the price right now, I think, is a lot of exuberance, a lot of sentiment that's going into it from what people believe that's going on with Elon and Trump, and then just understanding that the cybercab is going to become a reality in the future. But institutions are realistically going to be looking at just this Model 3 hatchback coming out, which I think is going to be awesome. I think that's going to move the needle more significantly on a fundamental level over the next 12 months because if Elon's coming out with his prediction saying that they should be getting back to that 30% growth rate when it comes to deliveries, that is going to be huge because if Tesla can push that, that's the number that Wall Street really wanted to pay attention to over the last couple of years. And obviously trading basically flat year over year when it comes to deliveries is not fortuitous for a growth company. So if a growth company like Tesla can get back to growth and a 30% growth on top of that, that's going to be huge, and Wall Street is going to love that. So while we may get a cool off when it comes to the stock price come the beginning of the year just due to some uncertainty, we have to see how next year is going to play out. If we don't get a recession and Tesla does come through with that Model 3 hatchback, I think we could see a very, very strong year when it comes to the stock price next year. If we get the recession, all bets are off. Everything is going to pull down, but I still think that's going to be an amazing buying opportunity and potentially one of the last amazing buying opportunities that we have for Tesla stock. Obviously, anybody buying down at the $100 levels where I was buying myself, that was the best opportunity we would have had in the last 3 years. So anybody who bought there, congratulations, you guys have done pretty awesome. But even so, I think going forward from here, there's that potential one more lull that we could get market wide when it comes to the company. But from a company's standpoint, company perspective itself, we have gotten past the most difficult parts, I think. We have gotten past the higher interest rate environment. We are now coming out with a lower interest rate environment and a compact car during that time, which is going to be very conducive for a lot of people to buy these vehicles, especially if we get into a recession where the economy is going to be in a tough place. People going out to buy a new vehicle, maybe they don't buy a Tesla, maybe even the compact car, that $28,000 range, maybe that's still too expensive for them. But it at least puts it on the radar for a lot of other people. That's going to be the mass accessible vehicle for a lot of people that are out there. Now, of course, the question is still going to come down to, are we going to have the EV tax credit or not? Seems like they may end up doing away with the EV tax credit. If they had that, it would be awesome because let's say the base price of the vehicle was going to be $28,000, and then you bring that down with the EV tax credit to the low $20,000 range. That is mass adoption. The total addressable market there is huge. That is one of the largest total addressable markets for the auto industry. So if we could have gotten there, it would be great. If they get rid of the EV tax credit, it's still going to keep Tesla in that range where that vehicle is still going to be lower than the average vehicle price that's out there when it comes to new vehicles, but it's still going to be a little bit higher than people were looking at and maybe a little less accessible than that lower $20,000 range. So it could come down to people looking at buying used ones, but by the time we get to used ones hitting the market, could be a few years. Either way, this opens up that total addressable market regardless, and it's going to be awesome for Tesla going in the long run. So for me, yes, I think the things coming in the future for Tesla are awesome. FSD getting solved, Cybercabs, Optimus, energy still growing amazingly. It's kind of like that sleeper underneath. I think all of those things are great. And I think those are the reasons why, as a long term investor, we have some great things to look forward to 5 to 10 years down the road. But if you're looking over the next 12 to 18 months, you really want to be paying attention to that Model 3 hatchback that's going to be coming out, that compact car, whatever they're going to be doing, whether it's the Cybercab, however they're going to be playing it out there. That's what you really want to pay attention to over the next 12 to 18 months. And again, pay attention to that and the macro environment. Between those two, those are going to be moving the stock price significantly more than anything. And you're going to get sentiment swinging it significantly more one way or the other. So make sure you pay attention to that as well because the sentiment moves the stock way more than most other stocks. But always pay attention to the fundamentals. Hey, I understand that the stock is moving significantly higher on a lot of great news because of this compact car, and that is a strong fundamental push. But just pay attention to the fact that, hey, is it pushing up too high, too fast, and we're pulling forward too much future growth? Just pay attention to those things. And then on the other side, if we do end up pulling down and we get a recession and the stock pulls down maybe 50%, just make sure you're remembering that compact car is a very strong fundamental step forward when it comes to the company. And that's going to take us one step closer to getting the Cybercab out on the roads with FSD being solved. So it's kind of that bridge gap between now and Cybercabs hitting the road, this lower priced vehicle, being able to fill all of that growth coming back out and really pushing up. Because if we weren't going to have that vehicle coming out, and the next big thing we had for Tesla was going to be the Cybercab in 2027, it could have been another ugly few years. So Tesla is going to come out with this. They're, of course, being very secretive about it to prevent any of the Osborne effect going on, but they're going to be pushing this out in the next year, and that is going to be that huge bridge gap. They're going to see 30% growth, according to Elon, 30% growth year over year for the next few years leading up to that Cybercab. So 2025, 2026, look forward to potentially 30% year over year growth. Then we get that Cybercab hitting the road. We could just take off from there. So next year, we could get whatever sell off we have, a great buying opportunity for Tesla. And I still want to be patient because if we just get a normal cooling off and no recession, could be buying opportunity there. If we get a recession, could pull us down significantly with amazing buying opportunities. And then as we come out of it, I think the entire market is going to do very well. And I think Tesla is going to do even better on top of all of that. So those are my thoughts on Tesla. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you guys have been ones holding onto it, or if you did something like myself, maybe sold off and put it into some other opportunities that were out there and are now looking to get back in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.